Hey bro, how's it going?
Good, bro.
You know what we're doing here?
I have no idea.
So we're trying to show people what happens to animals for us to get eggs and meat,
Okay.
cheese and milk. The way that we treat animals on this planet, basically, for our food.
Yeah.
Have you seen this type of footage before?
Yeah, that's how they make chicken nuggets too.
Nah, it's not actually. A lot of people think that, but nah, those chickens, they'll be turned into a waste product.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, some of them might get turned into fish food for factory farms, fish farms.
Yeah.
Some of them might be turned into fertilizer, but more often than not, those guys are just going to end up in the trash because the amount that we produce is so much that we've got no use for them.
True.
Yeah. So those chicks that you saw go into the grinder, those are the boy chicks of the egg industry, because they're male, right? So they don't produce eggs. So to the industry, they're useless. Yeah. So we're here just to educate people, so that they can make an informed decision when you go to the supermarket. Because a lot of people, they put these things in the back of their mind. You know, you might know that this is going on, but people don't remind themselves that, you know, the chicken they're buying on the shelf was once a living creature, or the eggs they're buying came from a place like this where the males are ground up. Day-old chicks are killed just because they don't produce eggs. So we think that's exploitation. You know, the way we're treating these animals is not fair. And if you agree that this is cruelty, or that this is an unfair way to treat these animals, then you should listen to yourself. You should listen to your heart and your morals and do whatever it is you can to try and reduce the suffering that these animals go through. And for me, that means not buying these products.
Yeah.
Because it's a supply and demand situation. The only reason why they do this to animals is because we want to buy these products. So instead of buying eggs, you can buy anything that's high in protein. I like tofu. Tofu's got lots of protein. You don't need to eat animal products to be healthy. You can get your protein from beans, legumes, chickpeas. You can get your iron from the same places, and spinach and kale. All the nutrients that exist originally came from the earth. They don't like magically assimilate in the body of these animals. So the animals, like the cow, they'll eat the grass, and then we'll get the milk, and we'll say, oh, you need to drink milk to get calcium.
Yeah.
But the cows don't drink milk, right?
No, that's true.
They get it from the earth, from the grass. So when it's not necessary for our health, and when obviously these animals suffer, how do you justify it? You know?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can't really. There's no good argument for it. The only reason why we do this to animals is because it's part of our culture. It's how we were brought up. Like, I wasn't born a vegan. You know, I used to eat meat and milk and eggs and all that. But one day I just developed a connection with animals, and I decided, you know what? Enough's enough. I'm going to listen to my heart, my own morals, and I'm going to live in alignment with that.
Oh, that's pretty fuzzy.
Yeah, so there's different things on each of the screens. This is all chickens, but on the other side I think we've got dairy, beef and all that sort of stuff. And I got a card for you. Just a whole bunch of information. Lots of documentaries on YouTube and Netflix. What the Health is really good. I hear a lot of people enjoy that one, and they usually go vegan just like that after watching it. Nothing too graphic on there either. It's mostly just educational stuff.
Yeah.
In What the Health, they talk mostly about how industry is always trying to promote like more meat, you need more cheese, more this, more that. And it's about trying to ignore the bombardment of advertising you get every day, and instead listen to your own morals and do what's healthy for you, not what's good for or profitable for these industries, you know?
So these are all the stuff we can look on
Yeah.
to watch.
So YouTube, Netflix, YouTube. I recommend all of them, but if you don't have heaps of time, I'd say watch What the Health.
Yeah.
Earthlings, it's a lot more footage like this. It's all like just the horrible, ruthless stuff that we've done to animals in the past. And that was the one that actually like motivated me and kicked me up the arse to actually finally go vegan, because I made all sorts of excuses. But then when I watched that one, Earthlings, it was like, whoa, obviously what we're doing is disrespectful on every level.
Yeah.
And it's easier than ever to be vegan these days. There's like new restaurants popping up all over the place. You go on Instagram or YouTube, just look up, you know, vegan lunch or dinner or breakfast, and you'll get all sorts of good recommendations.
Yeah. That's solid, man.
Yeah.
Well, I've got shit off to work, brother.
Yeah, sweet. Well, thanks for the chat. That was good.
You have a good night, eh?
Yeah, you too. Hey, buddy, how's it going? You know what we're doing here?
Got some idea.
Yeah, you got some idea? Yeah. So we're trying to show people. Yeah, well, Yeah, I mean, you could call it animal cruelty, but this is all standard practice type of stuff. This is what happens to animals before they arrive on the supermarket shelves.
Oh, it's horrific. It's,
Yeah. And, you know, there's what are these
guys?
guys?
What are you going to achieve, though?
These guys are the broiler chicken. Oh, what are we going to achieve? Well, we're here to encourage people to move towards a vegan diet. You know what a vegan is?
Yeah.
Yep. So we're telling people that if you think it's cruel, the way we're treating these animals, then you should listen to your heart, you should listen to your own morals. And
rather than changing people to being a vegan, why don't you change the industry to kill the animals humanely? That's an idea too.
Well, I mean, how do you humanely kill an animal that doesn't want to die?
What about, how do you kill a dog?
Exactly, well I don't eat
How do you
dog.
kill a dog? How do you kill a dog at a vet?
Euthanasia?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so the injection.
Yeah.
Do you think it's
Nembutal.
Do you think it's fair to the animal?
I'm not saying it's fair or not fair, it's humane.
Humane, right. I mean, if I were to inject you, for example, would you say it's... Yeah, I mean, it would be humane. It happens at... Well, I mean...
treated humanely by the government? I don't think so.
I mean, probably not, but
exactly right.
Am I the government? No, but the way that we treat these animals, we're responsible because we're paying for this to happen to these animals.
No,
So-
we're not responsible.
You don't think well, it's a supply and demand, right? If you buy eggs, this industry is going to say, okay, people want to buy eggs, so I'm going to...
Yeah, but I'm not saying the industry as such. I'm saying you're trying to change meat, not to eat the thing. Right?
Yeah.
Why don't you change them to kill humanely?
Well,
And there's less of them than there are of us.
I believe there's no way to humanely kill an animal.
Well, I believe there is.
Well, I mean, well, then you could get out there and you could encourage these industries to do it in a more humane way. But for me...
No, but it's not my mission in life, whereas
Right.
it is in yours.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's why I'm here talking to people, trying to convince them that if you think this is
Are you
unfair...
going to seriously... Okay, let me put it this way. Do you honestly, in any way at all, throughout the entire world, you seriously believe that you can possibly stop... Well, what's the population in New Zealand alone?
New Zealand
4
alone
million
is about 4 million, yeah.
Okay. That's a small country, it's a very small country.
Tiny,
okay?
tiny.
You've got buckless chances of achieving that goal in New Zealand. How are you going to do the rest of the world?
Well, I mean, I have faith in myself, first of all. You know, to think that a problem is so big that we can't have an impact on it, that's very disempowering, right?
Okay. Why not? What I'm saying is, you're targeting 4 million, right? I mean, not exactly, because not everyone... No, well, there are vegans, so let's make it 3.8 million or something. Okay?
Sure, yeah, that's probably generous, yeah.
Okay. You're targeting that number when you've only got to target a handful. If you could change the industry, or the government's changing the industry, you actually...
I hear what you're saying. You're saying go after people that have more influence on the wider population.
And
but what I'm
on the
saying,
wider population, on that industry.
Right.
Whereas if I've got to change 10 people's opinion to change something that one person's doing, wouldn't it be easy to change that one person?
yeah, I know what you're saying, but like I say, I believe there's no humane way to kill an animal. I also think it's more efficient.
Nembutal is. Nembutal is.
Is that a euthanasia drug? Wow, I mean, that's not an effective, cost-wise way for these guys to kill their animals. It's dirt cheap for them to treat animals like this, but for them to all be given injections, I don't know, I haven't run the numbers myself,
I would never try.
but I'm sure
I'm
it's...
in a bit of a hurry, but you're not going to change my mind, I'm not going to change yours.
Okay, well, it's nice to have a chat, thank you. Oh, you're back.
What a good cause.
Yeah, man, I mean, I've already...
And I do like the way you're doing it, rather than in Australia, where they rush into
restaurants.
Into a restaurant.
Yeah. I mean,
hey,
you know, like I was saying, I've already had about 10 conversations and people have said, hey, I'll give it a go. So, you know, I like to have faith in myself.
Oh, well, you may have changed 10 people out of 3.8 million.
Yeah. And tomorrow I'll do another 10, and then those guys can do another 10 themselves.
Provided, now out of those 10, one will probably stick at it, maybe.
Maybe.
Well, good luck.
Thank you. Hey bro, how's it going?
Yeah, good, yeah?
Yeah, you good? You know what we're doing here?
I kind of get it now, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious, right? So we're showing people what happens to animals for us to get meat, eggs, milk, things like that. Yeah. So what do you think when you see this type of footage?
Pretty horrible, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty horrible. It's pretty horrible. So we're trying to tell people that, you know, it's a supply and demand type of scenario.
Yeah.
The reason why these animals are treated like this is because we want to buy their products. So if you go to the supermarket, instead of buying the meat, buy a can of beans, you know, or some tofu or something like that. Or instead of buying the cow's milk, you can buy the soy milk or the coconut milk, things like that. Have you ever thought about going vegan or vegetarian yourself?
No, my girlfriend's vegetarian.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, she has been her whole life.
Cool.
But yeah, I don't know, it's one of them things, I've never been imagined life without meat.
Oh yeah?
And,
Yeah.
where I'm from, my mother's boyfriend, he's got a smallholder, and he does all his own, makes all his own bacon and sausages, raises animals. They're all very humanely treated, and when it does kill them, it's all very humanely done, you know, zero pain and all that.
Right. But when you say humane, like, you know, do you think there is a humane way to kill an animal?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, the animals don't have any suffering. You know, they don't. It's very quick, bolt through the head, so they don't feel anything. And before that, they're brought up, you know, very well treated. That's all I meant. You know.
Yeah. So, do you only buy animal products from this farm, or?
No, this is my mum's boyfriend. He only makes enough for himself.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So for you, like, but you would say you normally get your meat and things like that from the supermarket?
Well, back home I would have. I've always been a bit of a on the fence sort of guy. I don't agree with supermarkets creating so much. I think a lot of animals are killed in vain.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they think people might buy it.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that.
That's horrendous. So those are the male chicks of the egg industry, because they don't produce eggs, right? So on day one they're separated. The boys and the females are separated. The females go into the same system that their mothers will go through, just endlessly producing eggs, and this is what happens to all their brothers.
What happens after that?
What happens to these guys?
Yeah.
They'll be used for fish food, fertilizer. A lot, though, the majority of them is just thrown away into the trash.
Yeah, definitely makes me think.
Yeah, that's good, man. I've got a card here. It's got some resources on it. Nutrition facts, it's just all about different nutrients if you're worried about, you know, iron or whatever. But, you know, without even looking at the information on there, just remind yourself that all the nutrients we need to survive comes from the earth, right? The animals don't magically assimilate these nutrients, right? They eat it up from the ground, and then it's recycled, and then we get those nutrients when we eat the animal. So if we can just go directly to the source, cut out the middleman, it's more sustainable. Instead of growing these plants to feed to the animals, if we just ate the plants directly ourselves, we could feed a lot more people on this planet.
Okay.
So if you're worried, if you look at it from like a human rights perspective, there's kids dying all over the world. A lot of the grain that we use to feed animals comes from third world countries. And we take the cheapest food, basically like rape their lands and steal all the nutrients from their soil to grow grain, and then that's sent to first world countries to feed animals in factory farms and things like that. I don't know if you believe in like climate change.
Oh, cool.
But things like, you know, pollution, the amount of pollution that we're putting out into the world because of these animals is horrendous, and there's no way to go around it. You know, the amount of waste that they produce, like when we take a shit and it goes in the toilet, it goes through like a waste treatment system, right? But for these guys, there's 60 billion animals that are killed every year for animal agriculture, and their waste is just going directly back onto the land. And in a lot of cases, it's ending up in the waterways, it's going into our deep underground water, or it's going into the ocean, poisoning the oceans. So yeah, there's like 1,000,001 reasons to go vegan. On the card there, actually, there's that one. 101 reasons to go vegan, and he just talks about all the positives, basically.
There was actually something I read the other day about it. I don't know whether you stand personally on it, but honeybees.
Oh yeah.
So taking the honey from the bees. Well, I don't know what you think about that.
Well, that is a kind of like, you know, fringe part of veganism. Not like some people still eat honey. I don't personally myself, because I know I can survive without it.
No, the thing that I read about is a lot of vegans are turning towards this substitute, which, you know, they believe saves the honeybees, you know.
Okay.
Whereas without humans taking the honey, the honeybee would have died out 200 years ago.
Okay.
So they make too much.
Okay.
But the substitute that they're using instead of honey, natural honey, is actually taken, have a massive effect on a lot of insects that feed on this thing. But, yeah.
Is it like maple syrup or something like that?
No, I can't think what it's
agave? Molasses?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Something like, yeah, well, in New Zealand, you know, like honeybees, we don't need honeybees in New Zealand. They're an introduced species. Like a lot of the pollination just goes by the wind. We have bats and other insects and birds. We're kind of at a stage where we are now relying on honeybees, but in a perfect ideal world, honeybees wouldn't exist to the extent that they're living these days. Like we use them, we cart around their hives and put them in certain plots to pollinate things like almonds and stuff. Like I personally avoid almond milk. I take soy milk instead because soy is self-pollinating, so it doesn't have to rely on honeybees.
That's the problem I have though. I hate soy milk.
Oh, you do? Oh, well, there's so many different ones. Like there's some soy milks that taste awful, but there are some that taste great. And there's also like rice milk and oat milk and hemp milk, coconut milk.
I'll have a look into it.
Yeah, you should, man.
Yeah.
You should. Especially if you think that it's unfair what we do to the animals. You know, it's good to live by your own morals. If like in your heart it's telling you that it's wrong the way we treat these animals and you think they deserve more respect, then you should listen to yourself. You know?
Yeah.
Like I wake up in the morning and I'm like, yeah, I'm living peacefully, I'm happy, you know, I don't have to push thoughts to the back of my mind about what I'm eating every day and things like that. So yeah. Hopefully it's good for your health, good for your soul, and good for your everything.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks for the chat.
And you, man.
That's cool, man.
Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. If you want to see more stuff like this, what the animals go through, then watch Earthlings. That might be like the kick you need to really go vegan. That's what did it for me, is watching Earthlings. So if it's something you want to do, if it's something you seriously want to think about, I suggest you watch Earthlings. Does it make you want to change? Yeah?
Yeah.
That's good. That's good, man. I'm glad. There's plenty of alternatives out there. We don't need to put the animals through this.
What's the best
Vegan meal?
Yeah.
Depends what you like. I mean, I have a lot of pizza and pastas. I make a lot of curry, like Indian curries. Chana masala, you know, like chickpeas and tomato, lots of different herbs and spices, some coconut cream with a side of rice, or some vegan naan bread, some fried bread, things like that. A lot of like vegetable stocks. You can get like beef and chicken stock that hasn't actually got actual beef or chicken in it. So often I have like a soup, put in some beef stock and like some kumara, some pumpkin potatoes, a bit of vegetables and stuff. But really, like whatever your favorite meal is, chances are there's already a vegan version out there. And it'll be better for you as well. By cutting out animal products, you know, you get rid of massive amounts of saturated fat. There's no dietary cholesterol in plant foods. You can only get dietary cholesterol from animal foods. And just remember that every time you eat an animal product, an animal like this would have had to suffer for you to get it.
So all of you are vegan?
Yeah. Yep. So it's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think I've armed you with the tools you need.
Yeah.
I wish you a good day. Hopefully you eat less animals in the future. I mean, give it a shot, man. You know. And if you fail, try again. You know, no one's perfect. You might not get it first try. Maybe the transition for you will be a long one. But if you start making small changes in your life today, hopefully one day you'll be living more aligned with your own morals, you know? Because if you believe this is wrong, you should listen to yourself. You know what I'm saying? You'll be happier, you'll feel better, at the end of the day if you listen to your own morals and principles. So yeah, best of luck.
Yeah.
Nice to have a chat.
Yeah.
Have a good day. Hi girls. Do you know what we're doing here? No? You don't know? Have you seen this type of footage before? No? So those are chickens raised for meat. So we're trying to show people what happens on farms and places that produce, like milk, what the animals go through for us to get eggs and meat and cheese and milk and things like that. Yeah. Because the industries that sell these products, they're not going to tell you. And the animals themselves can't tell us, so we feel it's our responsibility to be here, to spread their message, to share their story. So what do you guys think when you see footage like this? Sad. Yeah, it's not a very nice way to treat the animals, right? So we're also here to tell people that there are alternatives available. Like, do you guys think we need to eat animals to be healthy? No? No? Do you think there's any reason for us to do this to these animals? No? No? Yeah. So those guys there, broiler chickens, the way that they're raised, their body grows really fast. The way that we've selectively bred them and genetically engineered them, the amount of weight that they have on their body, their legs can't support their weight. And also they have really small organs, so their skin and their muscles grow, but their heart and their lungs and everything stays the same. So yeah, they live a really bad life, and they only live to about 6 weeks, and then they're sent to slaughter. So the chickens that you find in the supermarket or in restaurants, this is where they come from. So do you guys eat much meat or animal products yourself? Average? Yeah. So there are a lot of alternatives these days. It's easier than ever to live a vegan lifestyle now. All sorts of awesome recipes on Instagram and YouTube. Just do a quick little search and you'll see millions of amazing recipes for you to try. And there's new restaurants popping up in Auckland all the time, new plant-based cafes and things like that. So have you guys ever thought about going vegetarian or vegan? No? Yeah, that'd be great. I'm sure the animals would appreciate it. Because it's a supply and demand situation. If you buy these products, you're basically saying to these guys, yeah, keep doing what you're doing. I'm going to keep buying your product. But if you don't buy their products, then they're going to think, oh, what else can we make? And so if you buy the tofu instead of the chicken, for example, or the soy milk instead of the cow's milk, or the coconut ice cream instead of the normal ice cream, then these industries that are making the animal products, they're going to say, okay, that's not really working anymore. We've got to start making some cruelty-free food instead. So have a good day. It was nice to chat with you. I need cards. Hi girls. How's it going? Do you know what we're doing here? No? We're trying to show people what happens to animals for us to get milk and cheese and eggs, things like that. So have you guys seen this type of footage before? Did you guys know this is going on?
No.
No?
Just looking at it.
Yeah, it's pretty horrific. So these are chickens, they're called broiler chickens, and they're raised for their meat. So yeah, they're grown to grow very fast. So that's why you'll see them looking very and a lot of them, they can't walk properly because of the amount of weight that they have. And they're killed at about 6 weeks old, which is when they're still babies. They're still chirping like a baby, they're not clucking like an actual chicken. So yeah, those are the chickens, like when you see in the supermarket, the ones wrapped in plastic or like at KFC and chicken burgers and stuff like that. That's where these guys originally come from. So we're trying to tell people that if you think this is wrong, if you think this is cruel, then you should listen to yourself and you should do what you can to stop this from happening to these animals.
Yeah.
And for me, a way to stop that is to not buy these products. Because if you buy chicken, you're telling these industries that you're supporting this.
Yeah.
Because if you think, if you think this is wrong, you should stop buying from them. It's supply and demand.
Thank you, we got it.
Yeah, I'll give you oh, if I got one. Oh, I'll get you a card, okay? Just 1 second. So yeah, this is just, it's got some stories about animals and things like that. And on the back of these cards, there's all sorts of documentaries on YouTube and Netflix.
Yeah.
So one for you, one for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's
So
for you.
yeah, thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
Hi.
how's it going?
Good.
You guys know what we're doing here?
No.
No?
No.
So we're showing people what happens to animals on farms for us to get meat, eggs, cheese, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Have you seen this type of footage before?
Yeah.
Yeah? You seen it? So what do you guys think about it? Do you think it's fair what we put these animals through? Nah. So do you guys think we need meat or animal products to be healthy?
I don't know. I don't eat red meat.
Okay, why is that?
Well, it's gross.
Right. So you really don't need animal products to be healthy? Like protein, you can get it from lentils and beans, and iron is the same in lentils and beans and spinach and kale and things like that. So we're trying to show people what happens to animals because we think it's unfair, the way that we treat them.
Yeah.
And when there are cruelty-free options available, and if you don't need animal products to be healthy, how can you justify it?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if you believe it's wrong, the way that we're treating animals, or the way that, it's bad for the environment as well, it's bad for our own health. If you believe that supporting these types of industries is wrong, then you should listen to your own morals, you should listen to your heart, and you should try and live in alignment with the way you feel. Because often we go to the supermarket and we just forget about what's on the shelf. We don't make a connection with the actual being that chicken that's wrapped in plastic used to be, right? And these guys, they get killed at 6 weeks old. So the chicken you find in the supermarket, they're still babies. Chickens can live to be between like 8 and 10 years old, but these guys are killed at 6 weeks. And the way that they're produced, you can see them hobbling around like that. They can't even support their own weight because of the way that we've genetically engineered them and selectively bred them for them to grow as fast as possible. So we've exploited them in every way possible just for a food source. And basically people know, like the companies know that we're going to buy these products, so they keep producing them. So we're trying to tell people about alternatives. So for meat, obviously there's the beans and the lentils, which is healthy for you, packed full of protein and iron. Also better for the environment. It takes less resources to produce plant protein and things like that, rather than growing the food and then feeding the food to these animals. There's people suffering all around the world, dying of starvation and things like that we could be feeding, but instead we feed it to these animals for them to then recycle it, and then we eat the animals. So it's an inefficient way of feeding the planet, basically. And by 2050, scientists have said that we need to double our food production to produce enough food for the amount of population that we're going to have. The United Nations has been saying since 2010 that we need to be moving towards a plant-based diet. So it's not like this information is hidden. People know about it. The only thing is that everyone's quite lazy, and we've all built up these habits of what we are used to eating. But all you need to do is just start making small little changes in your life. When you go to your normal favorite restaurant, buy the vegetarian option. They might have a vegan option. If they don't, like when I go to a restaurant, I'll usually tell them, oh, you guys don't have a vegan option, maybe you should look into that. Then you go back a couple weeks later, and if they've got one, you'll be like, oh cool, and then you buy the vegan option, When you're in the supermarket, instead of buying the cow's milk, you buy the soy milk or the coconut milk or the rice milk or the oat milk. There's soy cheese, there's coconut ice cream. There's, like, whatever your favorite meal is, chances are there's already a vegan alternative. People are pretty clever because people are now starting to buy the vegan options, so companies are starting to click onto that and making more plant-based alternative options for people. Yeah. So I've got these cards.
Okay.
It's just got some information on there about how to go vegan, lots of stuff on Netflix and YouTube.
Yeah.
Here you go, bro. One for you as well.
Okay, thank you.
So just look into it, make
Okay.
small changes and
Thank
you'll
you.
get there one day. See ya. Do you guys know what we're doing here?
I don't know.
So we're showing people what happens to animals for us to get meat and eggs, milk, things like that. So yeah, did you guys know that this is what's going on? for these animals? Yeah, you're aware. Do you think it's fair?
Pardon?
Do you think it's fair what we put these animals through? No. So would you say that this is a cruel way to treat an animal? Yeah. Yeah, so those guys are broiler chickens, so they're bred for their meat, and the way that we breed them, they put on so much weight that their bodies can't support them. So about a third of broiler chickens, they actually have difficulty walking around, as you can probably see in the videos. And so we're here to tell people that obviously it's cruel what we're doing to these animals, and while there are alternatives available, cruelty-free options, and we don't really need meat to be healthy. There's plenty of other foods that we can get our nutrients from. How can we justify it? How can we justify treating animals this way, you know?
So you guys want to improve their rights like that?
Well, we're vegans,
Yeah.
so we don't eat any animal products.
Yes.
So we think the things that we've done to animals, it's totally uncalled for, totally outrageous the way that we've exploited them. So we stay away from animal products completely, out of respect for animals, because there's no way to get animal products from an animal that doesn't contain exploitation. Whether it's meat, milk or eggs, there's no way to justify it. So do you eat much animal products yourself? Yeah? So you say you eat animal products, right? But you think this is unfair, what we do to these animals, right? So I believe that it's a good idea to listen to your morals, that if you believe that this is wrong, you should listen to yourself and educate yourself on different things that you can eat. Do you believe that you need animal products to survive? A little bit, yeah? So what do you worry about?
Because I saw this kind of news, but I know to survive. 뭐라지? 해버리 없네 갑자기.
It might have been true that once upon a time our ancestors may have had to eat meat for survival reasons if there was little food available. But nowadays, you know, we've got supermarkets everywhere. We've got access to all sorts of fruit and vegetables and nuts and seeds and grains, ways for us to stay healthy. So it's better for the environment, it's better for everything. Like, there's endless reasons on why we should go vegan. So yeah, you just got to spend a bit of time learning about new foods. Changing your habits is probably the hardest thing. Like, what do you have for breakfast?
Maybe brunch for hamburger.
Sorry, what?
Hamburger.
Hamburger for breakfast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh.
No brunch.
Oh, brunch, right. So in your hamburger, there'd be like a bun, a bit of lettuce, and beef, right?
Yeah.
So the beef you can replace with a bit of tofu,
Yeah.
or a lot of people make burgers out of beans. You just like turn it into a blender, or a bit of rice as well. Put some seasonings in there, and then you put it in your pan, fry it up. Or you could have something like falafel. You know falafel? Falafel, it's like a Turkish food. It's kind of like made out of chickpeas. You know chickpeas? Got a lot of protein,
Yes.
And the thing about eating beans instead of meat, it'll have more protein and it'll have less saturated fat and it'll have no dietary cholesterol. And often it'll also have more iron than beef as well. So it's healthier for you. And then you can still have the gherkin, the onions, the mushroom, the tomato. They also have vegan mayonnaise, which is usually just made out of olive oil and garlic, things like that. So it's possible. And I mean, do you live here in Auckland?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's plenty of vegetarian restaurants here.
Yeah.
You just go there, see what you like, try a bit of everything, and then you can go home or go to your supermarket and recreate the foods that you liked from the restaurant and try and work that into your everyday habit.
I'll try.
You'll try? Yeah, okay. Well, I've got a card for you. Highly recommend you check it out,
Thank
and
you.
good luck.
Thank you for
Yeah, sweet as. Have a good day.
You too.
Okay. Hey bro, are you here by yourself?
Huh?
Are you here by yourself? Hi. No, that's cool, it's cool. I was just wondering if you were allowed to see this type of thing, because it's not really footage that little kids should be watching. I mean, I can tell you about it if you want to know though. Yeah? Have you seen this type of thing before? No? So we're showing people what happens on farms, like the way we treat animals to get cheese and eggs and meat, things like that.
And gummy?
Gummy? Yeah, like gelatine, right? Yeah, so I don't eat any of that because this is the type of thing that we do to these animals, just so we can have these, you know, snacks. Hey bro. So we're showing people what happens to animals on farms. Where your eggs and cheese and things like that comes from, meat and things like that. Yeah, and gelatin as well. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty brutal, bro. So those are the male chicks.
Yeah.
And in the egg industry, male chicks have no use, right? Because they can't actually produce eggs. So at birth, the females and the males, they're separated. The females get put into the same system that their mothers will be in, and the males, they get sent into what's called a macerator, and they're just grinded up.
So is this like one of you guys got in here and recorded all this? Recorded all this?
Oh yeah, it wasn't me. I don't know the guys that actually got this footage, but yeah, they're definitely legends for showing people. Yeah.
That's a smart idea. It's better than vocal.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, we try and keep it peaceful. We only really talk to people that come up and look at the screens and show an interest. We don't want to be like, you know, too obtruse. Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing's bad, but like, what you guys doing is good.
Yeah, that's cool, yeah. Just trying to spread some information to people so that they can make an informed decision. You know, when you go to the supermarket, it's best that you know exactly what happened to the food on the shelves, right?
So what would you suggest us to purchase?
Okay, cool. So if you think you don't need meat, which you don't, like for health reasons you don't need it, you know. If you're worried about protein, you want the gains, you know, you can buy beans and lentils. You can buy and instead of iron, there's also heaps of beans and lentils and chickpeas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Leafy greens like spinach and kale, you get all your nutrients you need from things like that.
Yeah.
Nuts and seeds. If you need something to replace milk, that's an easy one. You have soy milk, or you get almond milk, rice milk, things like that. Fruits and vegetables, you know, it's like normal food.
Yeah.
You know, it's the healthiest for you as well.
This just all goes to waste.
Because of the amount that we produce, or that they produce, a lot of it does go to waste, but a lot of it is fed to fish and factory fish farms, and a lot of it is also used for fertilizer, like, you know, the blood and bone fertilizer type stuff. But yeah, so we're trying to tell people, you know, if you think this footage is bad, if it makes you feel sad, then you should listen to yourself, right? Like if you disagree with what these guys are doing, then you should say, yeah, nope, I'm not going to support that. I'm going to go support the cruelty-free options instead. And if you want gelatine as well, like if you want the gummy lollies, there's this thing called pectin. It's pretty much the same thing, and you can make gummy bears and all that sort of thing out of it.
But at least it's eatables.
Yeah, like Sour Patch Kids. You know Sour Patch Kids? Those are vegan.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, they're so good.
Yeah. So you just have to get used to looking at the back of ingredients on things, because it'll surprise you where they put milk and eggs. And you might think, oh, this looks all good, and then you turn it around and you see all this junk that's in it. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. So you got to like educate yourself a bit. You got to remind yourself not to just take something and eat it. You know, try and find out what it's actually got inside it. And
That's so good.
yeah.
You guys have a donation page, or?
Oh, I don't think we do.
Just like
We're all
reading-
volunteers.
Oh, nice.
But sometimes eventually we want to have like these massive screens, you know, so we'll probably set up a donation page eventually, but for now, don't worry about it. I'll get you guys a card. Like, it's got some resources on it and stuff. So this is just like a booklet. It's just got like some stories of animals and people that have made the change and things like that. And then on these cards, all sorts of stuff on YouTube and Netflix. Have you heard of What the Health?
No.
Nah, What the Health is a really good one.
Yeah.
It's about how places like McDonald's and Burger King and Fonterra, they try to sell you their propaganda to tell you, oh, you need more meat, you need more cheese, you need more this, you need more that, and it's all garbage. Basically, it's just their way of making money. What? Full of carbs? No, carbs are good. Carbs are good.
Yeah.
Like corn and potatoes and kumara and pumpkin and rice, those are all carbs. What's bad is when you get carbs and then you deep fry it, in oil and stuff like that, or you cover it in mayonnaise and things like that. Yeah.
Hey, bus will be here in a minute.
So did you get your card? That one's for you as well. Thank you. Yeah, so we're just trying to show people what happens to animals, the things that they go through to end up on the supermarket shelf. Yeah. But thanks for listening, guys. That was a good chat. It was really cool. Yeah, you guys have a good day.
Thank you. Good stuff.
So, have you guys seen this type of footage before?
I live in Frankfurt, in Germany, and I saw like, the exact same group, like something like that.
Right, you've seen this type of thing before? Yeah. So, what do you guys think? How do you think the animals, do you think they're treated fairly?
I am against like the mass killing, but I feel like I just have a different opinion. Like if it's like you grow it yourself and then like home kill. It sounds bad, but like it's just my opinion.
Yeah.
It's like I don't like the 100 chickens in one cage.
Right.
Just, like,
For me, the home kill thing is kind of, I mean, I don't know if it's worse, but it's a different type of thing. Like you're looking after this animal's trusting you to look after it, and then if you say that, oh, he didn't know it was coming, he didn't feel any pain. If you apply it to like killing a human or your dog or anything, like there's no humane way to kill an animal that doesn't want to die. And when there are alternatives available, like, would you say we need to eat animal products to be healthy?
I mean, I think, I have just a view. Like, I mean, I'm not against vegans and like vegetarians. It's just like my point of view. Like, I guess I wouldn't stop eating meat.
Sorry, you asked something I didn't understand.
Yeah, so I said, do you think we need to eat animal products to be healthy?
No, not in particular, but I personally have anemia, so I need to eat red meat sometimes. Like, of course, there are different types of where to get iron from, but sometimes it's the best way.
Sometimes it's the easiest way for you, because I eat a lot of green vegetables and a lot of beans, lentils, and legumes. They're packed with iron. You just got to make sure you have some vitamin C in your diet so you can absorb the iron.
I don't eat much meat, like not a lot.
Yeah.
So it's not. Of course, I'm still involved because I drink milk and stuff.
Yeah. Well, milk is the easiest one to give up.
Yeah.
Because instead of buying the cow's milk, you buy the soy milk or the coconut milk or the rice milk or the oat milk. And what the cows go through on dairy farms is probably more cruel than what animals go through on meat farms. Because the animal's impregnated.
I know, the cow.
She's heavy.
I know that.
And she has her calf taken away from her. So that we can drink the milk that was made for her baby. And the mother cow, she'll cry out for days looking for her calf. And so they have emotions and feelings just like us. They suffer emotionally. It's not just the physical pain that makes them suffer. So if you agree that it's wrong, the way we treat the animals, you should listen to yourself. You should listen to your heart and your morals and try and, behave in a way that's in line with your own principles,
Yeah, I mean, thank you for giving us the time.
Yeah, all good. I'll give you a card, eh? It's got all sorts of information on there so you can do some research at home.
Okay, well, thank you for the explanation.
Yeah.
And good luck, I guess.
Good luck.
You as well?
Thanks.
Sweet.
Okay.
Yeah, have a good day. Yeah. Oh, you had the chat already?
Yeah, I had the chat
good
already.
stuff, good. So what do you think?
There's lots of things in the world that you could think of.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not gonna be a vegan tomorrow.
Oh, well, I mean, like, for me, it took me like a few years.
Yeah.
I transitioned very slowly. It is possible to do it overnight, but there are a lot of things we could worry about in this world.
Yeah.
But one thing that we can affect on a daily basis is the suffering of these animals by not buying these products. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah? Like, there are wars going over all around the place, but I don't contribute to the suffering that goes on in those wars because there's nothing I can do besides speak up about it. But for affecting these industries, effectively you can help change them just by not supporting them, not buying their products.
Yeah. But there's still products that's not going in that sort of...
Chris. Thank you, man.
That's me, man.
You can still buy some good animal products that I think is produced in another way.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So, are you saying you think there's like a humane way to kill an animal?
A more humane anyway.
A more humane way, right? But it's not, like, the most humane way would be to find something else to eat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah? I mean, and we can do it. For health reasons, you don't need to eat animals. There's nothing in animals that you can't get from plants.
No.
Besides cholesterol and all the unhealthy things that come along with meat. You know, you can't get sick from eating too many plants.
Yeah.
But you can get sick from eating too many animals, right?
Yeah.
It's bad for the environment as well. And the amount of humans that we have to feed on this planet.
Yeah.
If we were all eating animals, we wouldn't survive, right?
Well, it's good having a think about.
Yeah, man, you should try and remind yourself about it, you know, because
good.
if you stop thinking about it for too long, you push it to the back of your mind, you forget about it.
The most important thing, not only what you're eating, but what the clothes you wear.
Yeah, absolutely.
About where it comes from.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's a good thing.
Yeah,
all right,
man. Yeah, have a good one. Hey guys.
Hey, good, bro.
You guys know what we're doing here?
About the food, like eating vegan, something like that.
Yeah, so we're all vegans and we're showing people what happens to animals before they make it onto the supermarket shelf.
Yeah. So like I seen the video there and I was thinking like, oh.
Yeah, makes you think a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
That's good, man. That's good.
I tried to be vegan one time, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I.
Why'd you try?
Cause I was thinking like too shocked about how they killing the animals.
Yeah, it's
and
not.
I also stay in the farm for a while, and then after I see the real things, you know. Yeah.
Wasn't nice.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. Well, you know, if your heart is telling you that you should stop eating animals, you'll feel better. You know, if you listen to yourself, live in alignment with your own morals, you're gonna feel better for it.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
And vegan food, like potatoes, rice, and beans, it's the cheapest food in the world.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the healthiest food in the world as well.
Yeah.
We don't need to eat animals to be healthy.
Yeah.
So how can we justify treating animals this way, right? So it's just for a little bit of taste pleasure, right?
Yeah. These are the best for doing it.
Yeah.
I also think like that.
Yeah. So what's stopping you from continue with the vegan lifestyle?
I am feeling overall very eu vou subir ali então. What you asking?
Yeah, so what's stopping you from continue being a vegan?
Because I was like coming to other countries, you know.
Yeah.
I was like eating a lot of fish and food.
Right.
And also, I was working a lot, so I need to eat a lot of meat.
Right.
A lot of meat. I work too much in construction, you know. So always I need to gotta have things, you know. So I need to construction the good meal in vegan, or can change the meat, you know. And I was like eat a lot of no good food, you know, like going to Burger King. And it's easy, you know.
Yeah, convenience is the hard part about being vegan. So like, if you go vegan, you know, sometimes you might have to prepare your meals in advance. You know, like make a big pot of something for dinner one day, and then put the leftovers aside. You know, put it in the fridge so you can take that for lunch the next day. Yeah, because convenience is definitely the main thing holding people back.
Yeah.
But you know, if you can agree that it's not fair the way we treat these animals, then you gotta listen to yourself. Yeah.
It's the truth, and my heart knows, you know.
Yeah.
And of course I can see about that because the animals love also. You know?
Yeah, they do. Totally. They're all individuals. They have lives. They can feel pain and suffer just like we do.
Yeah.
So we should respect them.
Yeah, exactly, bro.
Yeah.
So this what is that?
Yeah. So I've got a card here. It's just got some resources on it. Netflix and YouTube documentaries.
Oh really? I would like to see, bro.
Yeah, you should. You should.
It's
Well, thanks for the chat.
Nice. What's your name?
Good. My name's Chris.
Thomas.
Thomas?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, man. Have a good day. Hey, man.
My name's Cam.
Cam?
Yeah.
How's it going? How's it going?
Good, man.
Do you know what we're doing here?
Yeah, bro. I saw it on Facebook. My mate shared it. I'm vegan.
Oh, you're vegan? Oh, nice to meet you, buddy. Good job. Good job. Good job.
Good, man.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, people come. Hi, girls.
Oh.
How's it going?
Good.
Do you know what we're doing here?
Remember the 5th of November?
So you're thinking about the anonymous movement, right? Yeah. So we wear the masks, but it's basically just to draw people in to talk about what we think is a more serious issue. So we're showing people, I don't know if you guys have seen the screens, but it's showing what happens to animals on farms, how we get meat, eggs, cheese, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So It's kind of hard for you guys. I don't know if you guys want to have a look around and see what's going on the screens. But... Oh, okay, okay.
We got distracted because I watched the videos and stuff.
So do you know what's happening? You've seen this type of thing before?
Not really.
No?
Yeah.
So this is where hamburgers come from, basically.
Yeah.
So we're trying to show people what happens, because in the industry, they're not going to tell you, right?
Yeah,
and the animals can't speak for themselves.
Yeah.
So we think it's important that people make an informed decision, that you make a connection with the food you're actually buying in the supermarket. Because there are alternatives available, and you don't need to eat meat to be healthy. I don't know if you guys have an opinion on that. A lot of people like to argue me on that one.
Not really.
Do you guys think we need animal products to be healthy?
Well, I do just eat in general.
Eat stuff that's free range, but at the same time, I feel bad. But
yeah, well, I mean, the problem with...
I guess you just grow up eating, you know, your protein and your carbs and so it's just like, oh yeah, balanced diet.
Yeah, I mean, like, we're all raised to think that way. I wasn't born a vegan, right? Like, so I used to eat meat and everything. But I made a connection with the animals, and I just decided one day, you know, it's not fair what we put these guys through. And if I can live a healthy life not eating animals, and if I love animals, then why wouldn't I at least try to go vegan? You know?
We've got to get going.
Okay, can I give you a card?
Yeah, sure.
It's got some information on there, just, you know, like documentaries, books and recipes, websites that'll help you make the connection. So yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Have a good day. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.